Hello, everybody. I'm with Dr. Macie Smith, and she's here to talk about dementia and her book. So, hello, Dr. Smith.
Hey,
Uh,
Robyn, thank you for having me today.
so excited to talk to you about this because I know it affects so many people. Now, before we get started, you're a gerontologist.
I am. You said it real fancy, so you said gerontologist, but yeah, it's
What?
gerontologist. You're right.
Okay. And exactly what is a gerontologist?
So, a gerontologist is a professional, non-medical professional who provides support services for seniors, but also their caregivers. We address the challenges that seniors face in America and how it affects the family system. When we look at those challenges, we assess those challenges and we put supports in place to mitigate those challenges to promote longevity and quality of life.
Okay. And so what drew you to this field?
Well, and I always say the field actually chose me. I didn't, wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I want to be a gerontologist." In fact, I didn't even know that was a thing. So when I thought about the term gerontologist, my grandmama had a hand in raising me, and so geritol was the thing for everything. And so I was like, "Oh, geritol and gerontologist, the senior population, I get it." But my first job in the field, right after graduating from South Carolina State University in social work, I'm a licensed social worker as well. My first job was working with adults with intellectual, developmental, and cognitive disabilities, and my population was aging. There was a point years and years and years ago where people with intellectual disabilities did not have, longevity. But with advanced medicine, the quality of care that we provide, the person-centered care that we provide, people are living longer with disabilities. And so my population started aging with intellectual and cognitive disabilities, and many of my individuals were diagnosed with having Alzheimer's or either dementia, and I had no clue of what it was, and I was responsible for hundreds of people. The only thing I knew about Alzheimer's is that it was old timers, and then when I later realized that my mom and them did not know what and so I was just intrigued in learning more about this disease that had been around since 1906, and how there was a big misconception about the disease itself and how it affects people's brains and how it affects families, and just having that additional knowledge would be able to change the trajectory of the person who's living with dementia, their life, but also the caregiver's life. And so I said, if it only takes information to inform people, because when you know better, you do better, that's going to change this person's life whose brain is deteriorating. I'm all in. And so I really delve really deep into dementia competent practices. And then I learned that gerontology was a thing. So I got certified as a gerontologist, and I've just been doing the work ever since. Ended up opening my own geriatric care management practice because I am very, very, very passionate about my seniors. I have an affinity for the older population. I do. Because with blessings, Robyn, we're going to get there as well.
Yes.
And I want
Yes,
people to have an
yes, yes.
affinity for me as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And okay, so you talked about dementia and Alzheimer's. What is the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's?
So, dementia is the symptoms of a condition that's impairing a person's cognitive ability, their mental capacity. It will interfere with their ability to think through things, to remember things, and also to communicate. So, you think about if you have a headache and you go to the doctor because you have a headache, the doctor, once they assess you, and after you pay $2,575, they're going to say, upper respiratory infection. That's what's causing the headache. And so when you think about dementia, the memory loss, the confusion, not being able to perform familiar tasks, that's dementia, possibly, but what's causing it? Alzheimer's disease is the number one type or the most common type. Alzheimer's is the disease, dementia is the symptom of that disease. One,
Okay.
because there are over 100 causes of dementia. Alzheimer's is just one
Ooh.
type.
Okay, so a lot of people associate dementia with memory loss. Is memory loss normal as we age? Or should we automatically think, oh no, I need to go to the doctor?
Thank you for that question, because Alzheimer's and progressive types of dementia are much more than memory loss and forgetfulness. There's something called normal age memory impairment or normal age memory loss, age related memory loss. We're going to forget as we get older. There are a lot of things biologically that are going to change. Our appearance is going to change, the way we think is going to change, our perception is going to change, our language and our memory. But it's when that memory loss begins to impair your life, begins to impair your routine and your day to day. If you're having trouble remembering dates for things you've always remembered, such as Bible study on Tuesday night, church on Sunday morning, your firstborn's birthday. That forgetfulness, not in isolation, is now impacting this person's life because they're not going to church, they're not going to Bible study, they're forgetting birthdays, and it's causing agitation, it's causing anxiety. And when those elements appear, injury, illness, can cause the disease process to go a lot faster.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And then is there a way to prevent or slow dementia?
What we know now is that approximately 1/3 of the types of dementia that we see could possibly be prevented, possibly with lifestyle changes. And what we know now as well is that lifestyle choices are more of a risk factor than genetics. So it's more about what you do than who you were born to. We know that when you eat healthy, when you stay active, when you engage your brain, when you get enough sleep, when you manage those chronic illnesses, you're reducing your risk of developing progressive types of dementia. Obesity increases your risk of developing diabetes. That increases your risk of high blood pressure. That increases your risk of developing Alzheimer's or progressive type of dementia. So it starts with your lifestyle choices. Typically, what you eat.
Okay, and I
Sorry
know
to say.
when when anybody close to my age in high school, of course, you always heard that, certain drugs or doing drugs was going to, cause you to, have dementia of some type. Is that true?
Well, I have never heard that in school. I probably just wasn't paying attention. However, what we know now, I'll say this again too, what we know now, anything that impairs your brain power and your brain functioning and your cognitive capacity, like if you're slowing down mentally and you can't think on your feet and you can't think quickly and you can't process, that does increase your risk of developing a progressive type of dementia. But also, Robyn, benzodiazepines, the medications that people take to help them go to sleep, the medications that people take for anxiety, if it's in the benzo class, that has been linked to an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. So I'm gonna need you to try the
Mhm.
natural way of getting to sleep and staying asleep. Make sure you see a sleep specialist because long-term use of those medications have been linked to developing Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay, and how can family caregivers help a person who does have dementia?
Think the biggest thing first is to figure out what type of dementia it is. And the reason I say that is because it's going to help family caregivers better understand what the journey ahead could possibly look like. For someone who has frontotemporal dementia, they may have more outbursts and anger spells and emotional concerns early on and difficulty making decisions in terms of executive functioning, higher level decisions and making choices. They may see that early on. If they know that, then they can plan for that. Someone with Alzheimer's, you may see uh, recent memory loss first or early on in the disease process. Well, you can plan for that because now you can start to prepare the environment. One of the biggest conceptions is that you can not necessarily force change in terms of how the mind is functioning, but we think that seniors in general, and especially those with dementia, they're adult once and a child twice. That is so far from the truth. My skin crawls when I hear it. They're not a child. Even though the disease is eating away at their brain power and their mental capacity, they are more concrete thinkers. So it's like it's going in reverse, but their body, baby, and their heart and their soul, they know they're still your mama. They know they're still your daddy. They know that they're still in charge because they feel it based on lifelong learning and experiences. And so that is one of the biggest misconceptions. And so I tell families all the time, don't treat the disease, treat the heart and soul of the person, right? You still approach this person as the person they are, the relationship they are to you, and give them the support they need when they need it. They don't need you coming in to bathe them, because they can still bathe themselves. What do they need? Not what you think they need. What do they need? They just need reminders at this point, and they don't need you reminding them that they have dementia. You need to focus on their capabilities as opposed to their disabilities.
And that brings me to a little bit of business. You wrote
Uh-oh.
a book
I'll tell you.
for, caregivers?
I did actually wrote 2 books. My
Ooh,
most recent, my first one is Frequently Asked Questions: A Dementia Caregiver's Guide to Care. So both books are compact, digestible books, about 50, 60 pages. It's paperback. You can kind of fold it up, put it in your pocket. The idea behind that was I needed for caregivers. When you think about the average caregiver, they're working, they're in the sandwich generation, they're caring for their families, and they're also caring for an older adult. So the likelihood that they will be able to sit down and read a 20-chapter book is unlikely. And so I needed information that was digestible, that they can use and translate right then and there. And my second book is A Dementia Caregiver Call to Action: The Journey. I'm doing promo about the book now. We have a book discussion, a Q&A, and a book signing in McDonough, Georgia on June 26th. So I'll be there live and in living color. I want people to come. It's free. Robyn, come with your questions, your concerns, your criticisms, and we just gonna get down to business, as you stated, because that is my business. That's the business I get paid for. So that's the business I mind. But it really is a blueprint for what you should do and what you may experience once you have a concern about someone who may be dealing with memory loss or dementia. I also tell you what you should expect and how you should plan once they've been diagnosed. I talk about how they should be diagnosed. Now, this is what's going to happen when they are diagnosed, or what should happen. And then I talk about the caregiver's emotions too, because a lot of times we focus on the patient. We don't focus on their caregiver. The caregiver truly is the invisible patient. And so really that's my target audience, is the caregiver. But I love my individuals with dementia, because the minute you think that they don't remember, they're gonna remind you of what you just said that was not accurate. So and then after toward the end of the book, I list resources, because that's so vitally important. I'm not going to
yeah.
just tell you all these bad things that may happen and just say have a good night. And I know some clinical professionals who do that. That's not me, because I need you to walk away with hope. I need you to walk away with help. And I need you to walk away with a renewed sense of confidence. That is going to promote quality of living for the caregiver, and also improve the quality of care for the person living with dementia.
So, I'm gonna be honest, when I read your book, I thought, wow, I really wish I would have had this 2 years ago.
People
It
tell
gives you
me
so much
that
good
all the
information.
time, Robyn. And I'll tell you, there still is room for you. There still is space for you, because you are the folks who I refer my caregivers to say, what was your experience with this? Even if you didn't get it right, you can share your experience. And hindsight is 2020. And now you can share what you've experienced, and based on the new knowledge you've gained, you can say, this may help in this situation. So if you ever want to, volunteer or give back some time, we welcome you.
I'm here for it. So, okay, so anybody that wants to pick up your book, where can they pick your book up
My book now
or
is
order?
available in paperback, audiobook, and Kindle. The book is available any and everywhere you get your fine books: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, in my garage. If you see me at the Walmart, I probably got a book for you. That's what it says: availability, accessibility, and also affordability. It's very affordable.
Okay, and then one more time, what is the name of your book?
It is A Dementia Caregiver Call to Action: The Journey.
Okay. And if someone wants to follow you on social media,
Yay, come on over.
where
I am on Instagram at Dr. Macie P. That's DrMaciep, as in Paul. And I am on LinkedIn and Facebook at Dr. Macie P. Smith. My website is drmaciesmith.com.
Okay. I'm gonna follow
Oh,
you on. Go ahead.
Good. I forgot about that. I always forget about my YouTube community. We have a
Oh,
growing YouTube community. It's Just Ask Dr. Macie. I post videos. I have live streams where I'm answering your questions. So definitely come on over to the community, join the channel, and let's get it in.
that is awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time to talk to me today and, inform our community of something that is so vitally important
Yes.
because a lot of people know somebody with it. They may be diagnosed. I mean, you just never know.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
so I know it affects our community, a lot.
Two
As
times
a
more.
fact,
Yeah, two times.
yeah.
Black people, especially women, are two times more likely to develop Alzheimer's or dementia and least likely to have the resources. So we're Robyn, between you and I, we're gonna try to change that.
Yes, yes. Well, I appreciate you. I know our community will appreciate you. And thank you
Thank
again.
thank you so much for having me.